In this video, we're going to be exploring the best exercises you can do for your biceps as a wheelchair user. And when it comes to choosing exercises, it's important to pick ones based on our unique abilities and needs. And a good place to start is understanding how the biceps work. When we understand how they work, we can understand how we can train them effectively. So let's explore the basics of your biceps. So the biceps are the prominent muscle located on the front of your upper arm. They're responsible for three particular movements. The first one you're probably familiar with, which is the flexion at the elbow. They're also responsible for rotating the forearm and slightly elevating the shoulder too. And when you train the biceps, they do look great underneath your sleeves, but they have much more important tasks too. I personally use them every day in such things as toileting and getting dressed. But they also have an additional benefit for us wheelchair users. For when we're pushing our wheelchairs, they help to stabilize the elbow joint and prevent it from getting injured. So it's not just about going to the gun show, but it has some additional benefits too that impact our life positively. So it's important to do exercises that we can do in the wheelchair. This way we can maximize our time exercising our biceps. So onto the part of the video that you have been looking for. Let's look at the exercises. And the first one we're doing here is the cable behind bicep curl. Now why this is really good is that it's super easy to set up. We put the cable machine nice and low. We select the weight we need to. We either grab with a handle, or in my case, as you can see here, I've got the active hands D-rings attached to the carabiner, and I face away from the anchor point. I want to make sure my arm is behind me in a stretch position. I'll explain why in a second. And simply, we want to curl that weight up so our hand comes towards our shoulder, keeping the palms up the whole time. Once at the top, we want to slowly lower it back down to that stretch position and repeat for the amount of reps we need to. Now, what's so great about this exercise is that stretch position. When we put load on the stretch phase of our exercises, it leads to better muscle development. It also allows us to go through the full range of motion so we can maximize time under tension. This is also a great way to control the movement, as that arm wants to go back down and you slowly lower it back to position. This all adds up to this being one of the best exercises that we could do as a wheelchair user. And if you don't have access to a cable machine, you can see here that I am doing it with a resistance band, exactly the same. But we want to make sure that we start with some resistance. We don't want to have a slack band. So when we start that exercise, the stretch is under load. And our next exercise here is the dumbbell drag curl. To perform this exercise, we have the arms by our side. And instead of doing the normal curl up like you would in front of you, you pull the elbow back behind you, bringing that dumbbell up towards the armpit and then slowly lowering it back down again. What this does is focus on the peak contraction of our bicep, which is really good for building strength in our muscles. During a normal bicep curl, when we bring the dumbbell up, it's at the halfway point that it's at its hardest. But if we shift it so the elbow's back, the hardest point is when it's at peak contraction. This is great, particularly for building strength in the biceps. Also, you can go quite heavy with a drag curl, leading to better benefits overall. Next up is an incline bench bicep curl. And the reason this exercise is so good is for the same reasons that the cable behind bicep curl is good. To do this movement, we get ourselves set up on an incline bench at about 45 degrees or maybe a little bit more. We have those arms dangling by our side and simply curl them up as we normally would with a bicep curl. Then we lower them back down to that stretch position, and it's in that stretch position where we get the benefit from this exercise. Like the cable behind bicep curl, we're going to get better range of motion, more time under tension, and better muscle growth overall. So this is the cable side curl. To do this, you're going to need a cable machine or functional trainer. Set it to an appropriate weight, and then put the cable stack so it's around about shoulder height. From there, you can either grab the handle. As you can see, I've got the active hands D-ring clipped in. And you want to sit far enough away that when your arm is out to the side, because we're going to be sitting perpendicular to it here, that it's stretched out and is already at stretch and getting a bit of tension off of the cable stack already before we start the curl. Then from there, keep the arm elevated, bend only at the elbow, curling that hand up towards the ear, and then lowering it back slowly to the starting position. Why this exercise is so great is because it changes the angle of attack. Normally we have the elbow down by our side when we're doing bicep curl exercises, so this offers a unique variety on the regular stuff. Also, it's a great exercise to combine with the behind bicep curl, and that's because we're already on a cable machine. We can have it set up to do one, do our sets on that, and then go straight into this one to get a full, well-rounded bicep exercise in limited time using limited amount of equipment, which is always a good thing to save on your time. And last up here is the dumbbell bicep curl. Now I know in the previous exercises I've explained how they're better than the standard bicep curl, but there are still benefits to doing this exercise. And the main one here is that we can load this up and go super heavy with it. First of all, going heavy feels great. We can also add a little bit of a cheat in here with a swing in motion. And that's because one of the best things we can do for muscle development is go heavy. Sometimes you just need to get those heavier weights on, do some heavy bicep curls, and then when you go to the other curls that are more effective, we'll be able to lift a heavier weight. So it's a good supplementary exercise to the more effective bicep curl ones. So there we have it, everybody. That is my 5 best bicep exercises for us wheelchair users. By doing these exercises, we focus on the stretch under tension and get full range of motion, whilst also being able to do most of these exercises within our wheelchair. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about any of the exercises I've mentioned today, please pop it in the comments section down below and I will be sure to get back to you. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps this to get to more people if you do so. And if you're new here or you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for more great videos just like this one and many more coming in the future too. But thank you very much for joining me here today and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye. Are you ready to start your fitness journey? Then sign up now at adaptandperform.co.uk and get access to hundreds of workouts specifically for us wheelchair users.